here. Why?
Sounds like it.
Why not? Yeah, let's just lead off with that. But I'm here with my podcast brothers here, and we're here with the toast of the town in Boise, Scott. Scott, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, thanks, Hunter.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that one. And I've got this beautiful Irish bastard here named Colin. Colin, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Thanks, Hunter.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate those intros, but
Yeah. I think that's is that a cocktail? The Studley Irish Bastard?
Yeah.
Irish bastard. That should be
Yeah.
a cocktail.
dude,
Oh.
that's a good name for one. Dude, invent that
Mhm.
shit, man. You got it.
Yeah.
Just throw some
Yeah, it's just a glass full of Jameson, like half full.
That sounds perfect. But
Mm.
but guys, we are here for. I actually think this is my favorite podcast of the year. So we're here to talk about our top 10 best of. We did.
Yay!
Yeah, we did our award. that was beautiful.
I'm excited. All right, I like this one.
I do too, honestly. This is our.
There's gonna be. I mean, we all know we're all gonna have Krampus on there.
Yep. And Get Hard, yeah. So Krampus and Get Hard, top two for all of us. But we just did our worst stuff podcast a few weeks ago, which if you haven't listened to that, you definitely should. It'll give you context for how nice we're about to be the films we loved. So there was a lot of shit that came out this past year, but there was so much good shit. Like the good stuff that came out was so good. So the criteria for this is they had to have been movies that got wide release before December 31st of last year. So when you hear, why isn't The Revenant on your list? That's why. So probably be on my list for this year, but not for last year. So that's really the only caveat. I will throw this out here too. I didn't get to see every Oscar movie. I missed The Big Short, which I was trying to see, but just could not get around to. I didn't see Carol. I didn't see what was that? The Danish Girl of Brooklyn. So those are the movies I just didn't get a chance to see as far as being big Oscar movies. So didn't get to see everything, but we will talk about what we did get to see. So we are going to start off here with everyone's top bottom five, 10 through 5. So you know what? I'm going to start off with our youngest podcaster here, Scott. Would you like to go ahead and kick us off, sir?
Yeah, I will. So yeah, this one was tough. I didn't know that The Revenant wasn't a wide release. So spoiler alert, that is on my list somewhere. So I might have to replace it. But I'm just gonna go with it. I'll just have 9, I guess. So number 10 on my list is one that I don't know if Hunter you got around to seeing or not.
Okay.
So the end of tour is what it's called, with Jason Segel and Jesse Eisenberg.
I didn't get a chance
I saw
to see
that.
that. No, I didn't.
That one was that was kind of like my surprise movie that I saw this year. One of those ones I think I red boxed it and ended up just really really liking it, and because you don't really see Jason Segel in this kind of role very often, and Jesse Eisenberg was surprisingly good. I know.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg didn't make me hate him in that movie.
Yeah, I know we bashed on him a lot, and he's been in some questionable roles, but certain roles really do come to him, and I think this was one of them. Hunter, you can say something?
I was gonna say, so you said certain roles just come to him. So you're saying that he's gonna be a bad Lex Luthor? Is that what you're saying?
Well, to be determined.
I had to get that in there. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, and I also wanted to preface too that I did not get around to seeing a few of them, Brooklyn or The Room as well. I did not get around to seeing that, which I'm regretting. Moving, I really like that one. It follows Jesse Eisenberg is a Rolling Stones reporter, basically. I think it's 96, I believe, when he's interviewing David Wallace, the writer of Infinite Jest.
Oh, I thought.
Just a really.
Sorry, I thought you meant David Wallace from The Office. Sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's easy to confuse.
Yeah.
David Foster Wallace is probably the way.
Thunder Mifflin, yeah. That'd be a great interview. But yeah, it's one of those movies that surprised me, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Kind of like the different tone that it took, a little bit existential, and I kind of like that. Number nine, I put, I was kind of back and forth whether to put this on my list, but I really liked it, and I kind of wanted to go with my gut with this list, kind of not ones that I think that are on other people's lists or just kind of. I went with Star Wars here, The Force Awakens.
We're so low.
I thought it was
Wow, interesting.
well, I thought it was really really fun, and I don't think that it was like the theatrically the best movie I saw this year, but it was like everything that I wanted it to be as a fan, as a disappointed fan of the previous three, and a huge fan of the original three. Just wanting so much from it, and boy, the expectations were so high for this
Yes, they
movie,
were.
and I think everybody involved really, even the older cast members, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. I really enjoyed Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher not so much, but
Aw.
it was really fun, and it fulfilled all my expectations, and that's all I wanted from it. I was like, you know what, this deserves to be on my list. Number seven, this might be a little bit lower than other lists I saw. Mad Max,
Wow.
Road to Fury, Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, and this was another really fun movie.
Yep.
Probably the best action movie I've seen all year. It was just like a little bit out there. There were certain parts of it that, like, when we did the review, that I was a little more questioning of, like the guy with the big guitar
Boo.
just blasting this massive speaker while they're like, it's,
the best
the
part.
Warriors chant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's just like things like that would remind you kind of, okay, yeah, this is Mad Max. This is a little off the wall. This is a little crazy. I remember watching Road Warrior, Mel Gibson, and that one's a little off the wall too. So that is my number seven. I'm sorry, number eight. Going the wrong way here.
No, you're good.
Number eight.
You're good. You're good.
Number seven is going to be I believe this is the fourth or one of the movies in a long line of Rocky movies is Creed.
Ooh,
Um,
yes.
I surprisingly just very, very, very much enjoyed this movie. Michael B. Jordan just continues to impress. I don't think I've seen him in something that I haven't
Watch it.
at least
Watch it.
enjoyed. I don't see. I didn't hate Fantastic Four as much as you did, but I didn't think he was bad in it. I think he was poorly written part for him, but I think he delivered it pretty well. It was pretty cookie cutter, but I like him as an actor, and I think he really just pulled it together for this Creed movie. Boy, Sylvester Stallone, I had really low hopes for him in this movie, and
God, he is getting
somehow-
so much praise, man.
He is.
I know. I
don't
really
know, like-
is. I don't.
I mean,
I
we
don't-
won't get into hashtag Oscar so white, but I mean, God, like,
Yeah.
why is he getting all this love? Like, Michael B. Jordan was clearly better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't think that he is quite deserving of this Oscar talk. Now, it's one thing to say he was a good supporting actor. I don't know about an Academy Award. But I digress. So that was number 7 here.
Go Tom Hardy, by the way, for best supporting.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I had to throw that out there.
Oh yeah, totally, absolutely. Number 6. Oh boy, this could have gone higher up my list. To be honest with you, Sicario is my number 6.
Ooh, good one.
Benicio del Toro just kills this movie, and I really love him in a lot of things, most everything that he's in. Really kind of intense thriller about the cartel and just kind of the Mexican-U.S. relations and kind of the undercover kind of what is it, DEA, CIA, one of the two kind of relations between the
Yeah.
two. It's really, really fun movie. I kind of wanted I wanted more from it, to be honest, but only because it was so good. So that's my number 6, Sicario there.
All right.
Super badass.
Dude,
I love that
Sicario
movie.
is so sick.
that's a good start to the list, sir. So that's your 10 through 6. So
10 through 6.
yeah, all right. So then you have 5 through 1, and then let me go ahead because we're gonna save this beautiful Irishman for last for his first few movies. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here with my number 10. But before I go ahead and do that, just a few movies that were so close, and I'll just like, oh, I can't put you on. So, Bridge of Spies was right there, couldn't quite put it on. Kingsman, Secret Service, love that movie, couldn't quite get it on there. And Dope, which I loved, and I just couldn't find a spot for it. So I'm sorry, guys. You guys, those are really good. All right, so my number 10 is a movie that I actually really. Actually, Scott, you gave it a higher grade than I originally did when we did a review for it. And I own it. I've been watching it a lot more. I'm just like, God damn, I really enjoy this, not just because it's fun, but because it's fun on a smaller scale. And my number 10 is Ant-Man. With Edgar Wright leaving the project, I was really concerned that was going to suck when they brought in Paul Rudd to rewrite it and Adam McKay to direct. I was just like, I don't know, but Paul Rudd sells himself as a superhero and really does a hell of a job. Evangeline Lilly, who I'm so in love with, she was actually really good as Hope, and then Michael fucking Douglas, like, who we haven't seen in a while, as Hank Pym. Like, I love the movie. I love the way it connects to the rest of Marvel's cinematic universe, and a cool fight scene between him and Falcon. So, yeah, that's my number 10. My number 9 is a lot lower on the list than some people might like, but it's not your list, so whatever. And that's Inside Out. Loved Inside Out so much. Just great animation. Amy Poehler was amazing as Joy. Bill Hader. I mean, the voice cast was ridiculous, and the animation's so good, and the story is just heart wrenching. It's like it's sad at points, with multiple gut punches, and just Pixar at its best. Like maybe the best movie they've done. You can make a very good case. Scott, you saw Inside Out, right?
I did not end up getting around to seeing that one, unfortunately. That's one of the ones that I just missed in the theater, and I never got around to. I know.
Oh my god!
I saw it, Hunter.
Yeah, and you liked it, right?
I love Inside Out. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
It hits on so many different levels. It's fun, and it's pretty sweet. Pixar just keeps churning out these gems.
Yeah, just stay away from doing Cars movies, Pixar, and planes. Don't do any more of those. But that's my number 9. My number 8. It could be higher on people's lists, but for when I saw it and what I took away from it, it's still at my number 8, and that's Ex Machina. A movie that a lot of people probably overlooked, and you shouldn't have, because Oscar Isaacs was amazing in that, and just a fucking creepy, just very like cautionary tale, which we won't follow, where it's like, hey, technology can be bad if you like fuck with it, and the whole play God aspect. I mean, it's a modern day version of Frankenstein, really, and it's so well done. Just fucking cringe worthy, uncomfortable, very much turns the mirror on you and kind of goes like, how would you contribute to this? I absolutely love that movie. So that's my number 8. That's my number.
And it seems like it seems so real too. I was like, after watching, I was like, this shit's happening somewhere.
Seriously, like
somebody's got this robot girl down in their basement on their mansion on their 100-acre
Mark Zuckerberg
land.
is out in the woods of Chino Hills with some machine.
Yeah, it's an autobiography.
Seriously, man, that movie, I remember in the last 20 minutes are just so goddamn intense. It's like, oh my god, what is happening? It's so good. Fucking love that movie. My number 7 movie again, is going to be something that's probably higher on people's lists, but again, just sorry. Was Mad Max Fury Road. One of the reasons it's so low, and it's not. I don't think it's anyone's fault per se. It's not really a bad thing, but it's called Mad Max Fury Road. It's not really about Mad Max. I mean, again, like the movie doesn't suffer from it, but it is called Mad Max, and I was like, okay. But Charlize Theron was a badass in this movie, and Nicholas Hoult, aka Beast. The whole movie, the whole movie is so well done, and I saw it with Colin in IMAX, and I looked over at Colin at a point. It's like and I was just like, I don't think I can handle it anymore. It's like
yeah, we did. There was like one point where it's been like 20 minutes straight of action. We just look at each other like, what is happening? I can't stop grabbing the sides of my chair.
Seriously, like I mean, and that part in, I don't really think this is a spoiler, but the part where the girl gets run the fuck over, you're like, Jesus Christ, like it's so insane. But I adore that movie. So that's my number 7. And my number 6 is something that I know a lot of people probably didn't see, but you should have, because it's such a well done movie, and that's 99 Homes with Andrew Garfield and
oh nice, I made your list.
And Michael Shannon, aka General Zod, but more importantly, the evil bad guy from Premium Rush. He was
a good shout out.
He was such
great movie.
He was such.
I love any good Premium Rush reference.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my all-time favorites.
It's a classic movie. I fucking love that movie. But yeah, before we just all start talking about how much we love Premium Rush.
Yeah, we're just gonna go right into Premium Rush.
Don't even give me an inch, I'll go a mile. That movie.
Like on a bicycle. Oh snap! But Michael Shannon was such a fucking piece of shit in this movie. You just hate him, and then see how Andrew Garfield's character is dragged into his world just out of necessity for trying to survive on his own. And it's just, I was so uncomfortable watching that movie the whole time. My skin was crawling. I was gripping the seat like I was in Mad Max. I'm like, God damn, this is so tense. And Andrew Garfield, I did not know he had that in him. I was like, wow, I did not think you could go where you need to go to pull this out, but bravo, sir. So 99 Homes, if you have not seen it, please go support the movie. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's my number 6. So now we move on. We saved the best for last. Colin, good sir. What is your very nice. What's your 10 through 6?
He's so
way
hot.
to build me up there, just so I can let you all down. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Okay,
No way, man.
I gotta throw out some honorable mentions because my list is so important. I know that directors and actors are gonna get really butthurt when they don't hear that they're on my list.
It's true.
So there was some indies I saw this year that were pretty sweet. I have to give a shout out to Pawn Sacrifice with Tobey Maguire. That was actually it was pretty sweet. It was kind of one of those biopics of Bobby Fischer. There's been a couple done. He was back in the days of the Soviets when people didn't know if we were going to nuclear war and stuff. It was a tense time, and there was this dude Bobby Fischer that just started crushing people at chess and became kind of a national hero.
I love that, crushing people at chess.
So anyway, that was really well done. I like that one. The Stanford Prison Experiment was pretty crazy. It was about this old 1970s experiment done in Stanford University about the effects mentally on people that were dehumanized when they were put in prison and given numbers instead of names. It was all based off a real story, and it was really well acted and directed, and it was really cool. Recommend everybody seeing that. That was really good. Inside Out, we talked about that. Had to mention that. Didn't make the list, but it was super sweet. And then I also like Black Mass because it's just a bunch of Irish gangsters, and who doesn't love that?
True.
Anyway, those are the honorable mentions. But to start out my list with a bang.
Here we go.
I know this wasn't making anybody's list, but I had to throw it out there because these movies. There's got to be like at least one a year that's just so stupid and awesome and over the top that it's just like I'm gonna love
Wait,
it.
is it? Wait, can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah, you can
Is
guess.
it Furious 7?
No, but
Oh.
it still has The Rock in it.
Oh, San
It's
Andreas.
I'm not joking you. After seeing San Andreas, I was like, I could watch that movie probably 10 more times. Like, it's just The Rock versus an earthquake, and spoiler alert, The Rock wins. So that makes like millions and millions and millions of people are dying during this movie, but like you don't care because The Rock like saves his hot wife and his hot daughter, and like it's totally chill. So anyway, San Andreas, number 10, pretty sweet movie.
No, I'm so happy that's on your. That was your Pacific Rim this year. You were just.
That's what. Well, Pacific Rim would have made like my number 1. that
Yeah,
year.
excuse me, more like top 5.
Yeah, but I mean, San Andreas is definitely in that realm of like, I know it's not great, shut up, I still love it. But anyway, so number 9, moving on. Didn't get as much love as I thought it was going to get once Oscars came out, but you know, I know there's not enough white people get enough credit in Hollywood, I swear.
That's the deal
Yeah,
here.
it's the
Just
worst.
like
But-
minorities are cool now or whatever.
But I really loved Steve Jobs. I had to put it on. I love Fassbender. He's like one of my favorite actors now. I need to see Macbeth. It came out this year. Apparently, it's really, really well done, and he's like incredible in it. He's also a great Magneto. Everyone knows that.
That's true.
But yeah, Fassbender's awesome. I really liked his portrayal of Steve Jobs in the movie, also called Steve Jobs. So yeah, that's my number 9. Really liked the way that one played out. Number 8 was both on. No one got it in the top 5, and including me. I guess it just didn't crack. You know, there's just a lot of good movies out this year, but it was super sweet, and it was Mad Max,
Yeah.
Fury Road. So yeah, like Hunter, you said, and I think you mentioned it too, Scott. Is like, you know, some people might put this higher on their list, and obviously, for an action movie to get this much like Oscar buzz is kind of crazy to me.
Yep.
Because it is kind of an over-the-top action movie, but there is some substance there with Charlize Theron's character and the way it all plays out, and there's a pretty good twist, and it's a good story, but the action is what makes this movie. So I was all about Mad Max. I've already watched it again since it came out on Blu-ray,
Too.
and I'll probably watch it several more times. So, number 8, yay, Mad Max, good job, Mad Max. Number 7, again, this probably could be higher in other years, but there's just some other cool movies that I liked. But man, Chris Pratt is one of my favorite big blockbuster movie stars now, and him just riding a dirt bike with like 5 velociraptors going to save the day from like, good God, that's right in my wheelhouse. So Jurassic World, and then you get the big musical score that just like brings you back to you when you're a little kid watching the first Jurassic Park. And it's, you know, there's some movies that come out now, and like there's so many remakes and there's so many like reimaginings of these old 90s and 80s films. It's like so many get it wrong, and then there's a few that like you get it right, and you have to just like praise those movies for doing a good job. I mean, like we saw Zoolander, which was such a mess, and then you see
Yeah.
like, I didn't see Point Break, but I know that wasn't super good. So I mean, there's just I like to praise movies when they do a good job, and I thought Jurassic World was super sweet. I could watch that a ton more times. And the special effects, that didn't get any credit. I don't know if it got any credit for special effects. I know Star Wars is up for best special effects this year, but I didn't see
Yeah, I don't think so.
Jurassic
I don't
World
think
in there.
so.
Yeah,
I
it's
like-
surprising.
I like that we have. I like that you're given like we have different perspectives on this show. You're giving because it seems like you really appreciate like a good action movie. Like if it blows you away, like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, if people think it's necessarily like Oscar buzz or what, like Jurassic World, for example. It's like it, you know, you like your action movie. You like the you appreciate the intenseness and the thrilling like movie maybe over something not so thrilling. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that point of view that you have of putting a movie like that so high on your list. Is like I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thank you, kind sir. Yeah,
you're welcome. Yeah, I think you're
I'm just a regular dude, man. Like you can go, like
I'm just like one of the guys.
Beers. Like, dude, like if you like dude movies where a lot of stuff blows up or there's big monsters or earthquakes, I'll watch that any day of the week.
You should start a side podcast. You should start a side podcast called Dude Movies with Colin.
I would totally do that. Yeah, so I mean, definitely, there's not a lot of females that are gonna have my top 10. Let me tell you right now, but
and that's okay. And that's okay.
I got the Scott seal of approval, so now I know my list is legit.
I don't know. You still have a few more to go.
Uh-oh,
drama.
Well, I think next one's a safe bet because you had it on your list too. So number 6 is Creed, another great dude movie.
Great call.
Nice.
Yeah, God, Michael B. Jordan is such a great actor. He's totally getting snubbed this year, and man, that movie's just. But the whole movie, though, is well directed. That first fight scene, I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know if I've seen... And there's so many boxing movies out there these days. It's nice to go and see a boxing match in a movie and feel like this is fresh and new. And that first one, the last fight wasn't as cool because the first fight was like literally, it plays out the first 2-minute round. He goes and sits down, he gets back up, he plays the next round. There is not a break in the entire like shot. And it feels like you're right in there, especially watching it in the movie theater where you got the sound effects booming. And I mean, like, that was edge of your seat watching that. Like, wow, this is incredibly well done. I haven't seen something like this in a boxing movie ever. And the acting, the story, everything was great. The homage to Rocky. I mean, Sylvester Stallone is probably getting a little more credit than he deserves, but he was still awesome.
Yeah, he was.
And it's still Rocky. And he was still, he had his emotions and, it was good. It was super sweet, and it was my number 6.
All right, so we are going to jump back to Scott to finish out his list. Sir, what is your 5 through 1?
Oh, boy, so much pressure to get the first one to say what a number 1 is. Do you want me to do number 1? Would you like me to do my number 1, or do you want me to...
Oh, do you
want me to hold off?
You can do your 4 through 2, and then we'll all go back around.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
That's the story.
All right. So number 5 is probably the biggest surprise movie for me of the year. I guess I shouldn't say surprise. I should say skeptic. I guess I should say I'm very skeptical going in this movie because a lot of buzz around it, especially when Oscars roll around, of not a lot of black actors or minority actors, for that matter, getting nominations for lead, either a lead or supporting actor or anything like that isn't a star, basically, that's on screen. And this one is Straight Outta Compton. I really, really like this movie.
Nice.
This just the acting of all, let's see, the 3 of Dre and Ice Cube, Eazy-E, just those actors just killed it. Those guys killed it. And coming out of nowhere, I didn't even know Ice Cube's son, was it Calvin?
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
O'Shea Jackson, thank you. I didn't even know he acted, to be honest with you. And it played a perfect role. It's so hard to do. I feel like, the stereotype about these sort of documentaries about rapping, especially, or hip hop, is that they're all about the same thing, and that they're not necessarily well made, or they can't be well made because they're of that genre. And they killed this movie, and the music helps for sure, yeah. And it was used perfectly. The soundtrack was amazing. So that's
Is
my
O'Shea
number.
Jackson Jr. gonna start like taking over the Are We There Yet franchise?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not.
Don't put that on him.
That would be so sad.
Well, I mean, if he's following in his father's footsteps, it's the logical next choice.
God damn it. That made me very sad, I'm not gonna lie. So, all right.
Yeah, that was a little bit, man. Colin, you're making me so sad on such a happy day.
Why? Oh. We
No,
don't
I'm
all
just
love the Are We There Yet? No, okay. My bad.
I think I saw that one in theater. I'm pretty sure I saw that in theater and I was very disappointed because I saw it with a bunch of people who just loved it. Okay, sorry. We're sidetracking.
No,
here.
go.
Okay, number 4, and this was, I apologize, Hunter, I didn't realize this wasn't a wide release, but I did have The Revenant in number 4. I think it was like one of the coolest movies, like cinematography wise. Just it was almost an art piece to me, in certain respects, and they just let Leo just do his thing. It was pretty much just him and a camera 2 inches from his face. And I know that at certain points that could be much, and the movie I can understand people thinking it's too long, but I loved every minute of it, and it was kind of funny leaving the theater. It was probably 10-15 degrees outside. And it was kind of one of those things where you went outside, I was like, oh, Leo, I know I could feel your pain, Leo. But it's just like you were in his head the whole time, and I love that the director was able to just put you in that place. I feel like that's really tough to do, and Tom Hardy's just a complete badass all 24/7. So he was great as well. Number 3 was a movie that I had not heard a lot about previously, but there are a lot of big stars in it, and that would be The Big Short. Christian Bale, Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell, just really well done, kind of fast-paced, a little bit complicated at certain points, but they kind of took the time to explain parts of it to you. Kind of one of those movies you left with a sick feeling in your stomach. And it was almost a good thing. That was what the movie was supposed to do, is to really hit you where, because everybody has experienced, most people watching this movie, almost, probably 90% of it really experienced the 2008 kind of recession that occurred, and kind of you get a look inside of that, especially in the country that it happened, I think it made it all the more powerful. Really well done. And like I said, did a good job of kind of explaining it. And man, Christian Bale, it's just like he's such a method. He just gets into every role, no matter what it is. He has like a bit of kind of like a lisp or speech impediment, and kind of an off the wall character. So good. He was so good. Alrighty, number 2. I have I was really kind of arguing with myself whether I want to put this number 1 or not. But my number 1 was just too good not to leave there. Number 2, was Ex Machina. I really love this movie. I saw it on a few lists, kind of lower down the sheet, lower down the list towards 12 or 15 or so on a few, but Oscar Isaac is just I'm really loving him. Especially with Star Wars coming out, he played a great role there. Domhnall Gleeson, I've been on his D for a while now.
You have been speaking up for him.
And I don't know what it is, but just I love that psychological aspect of this movie. The cinematography was great, and the effects. Yeah, I'm surprised that this isn't getting some sort of accolade for effect. Obviously, it's not special effect as in explosions and whatnot, but just the effect of the robot and the girl and the faces and things like that was just so cool. Yeah, like Colin was saying, I feel like that's that could happen somewhere. That could be somewhere up in the hills. Yeah, great movie. I think that not really getting as much buzz as it should have, but that's one of the ones I enjoyed the most. Do you want me to give my number
Oh
one?
no! We're all gonna go back around.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
let's give the people something to wait
All right.
for. But
Okay. All right, we'll do a little
there you
teaser.
go.
I like it.
And then so yeah, let me jump back in here to my number 5. It ironically enough, it's the same spot you have it at, and it was Straight Outta Compton. I just sat back watching this movie. One of the most intense opening scenes I've seen in anything in like years. I was like, holy shit! Like that's the start of the movie. It's like, okay, movie, like show me what you got. And you're so right. The soundtrack helps. You know, there's just certain movies where when they go to be the artist and perform live, it just doesn't hit. It just doesn't feel like they're the artist. Right. But when they get to the first time they do Straight Outta Compton at a concert and go into Fuck the Police, I was like, damn, this is energy. This is what you get when you listen to an NWA album. So I absolutely loved it.
It's like you're on the almost like isn't a lot of kind of movies like that where you're on the edge of your seat, especially in, you know, like watching like 8 Mile or something like that. Wasn't ever on my edge of my seat or anything. Like it just seems like these sort of genres, they're not always as thrilling. But I totally agree. I was just like waiting for that first line to hit was pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely adore it. And we talked about we talked about O'Shea Jackson Jr. You know, and he was fantastic as Ice Cube. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I just what was it? I think it was Corey Hawkins who played Dr. Dre. Yes, it was. Yeah. And then Jason Mitchell, who was Eazy-E. I mean, those two, they did such a good job. And the guy who played Suge Knight, Marcos Taylor, he was horrifying. Whenever I saw him, I was like, oh shit, stuff's about to go down. But absolutely love that movie. Yeah, Straight Outta Compton. Getting fucking shafted tonight at the Oscars, which I'm sure Chris Rock will talk about. But yeah, absolutely well done.
I hope so. That would be disappointing if he doesn't.
Yeah,
but that's for another day.
Yeah, so absolutely love that movie. My number 4, I just watched last night, and it's so goddamn good. It just made me cry. It made me smile, and that's Room. Oh my god, Brie Larson, who I've had the biggest crush on since Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I was just like, I love this woman. And 21 Jump Street. And of course, she was in like The Spectacular Now, and then she was really the emotional crux, really, of Trainwreck too. I was like, God damn, this girl, like, she has something. And then she was in Don John, and she was actually maybe my favorite part of Don John, the little bit she was in. So, I mean,
she could totally deserve that Oscar for Room, I think.
Oh, dude, yeah, she definitely deserves it. So, absolutely incredible movie. It just it wrenches your heart. It's so good. So yeah, absolutely love that movie. So that's my number 4. My number 3, one of, Colin said it earlier, of Jurassic World, talking about how there are things that have been rebooted, reimagined. And one of the best movies of the year, one of the best reimaginings, was Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Oh my god, Han fucking Solo being back, seeing C-3PO and R2-D2, mixing with these new characters, Rey and Finn. But by the way, does anyone think they're doing it? Like, I think they are. Like, just I've seen them in some interviews, and it just seems like they are. Anyways, but. So,
the actors?
I think they are.
Are bonus? Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
might as well.
Well, I like the way you said, like, might as well, whatever. I mean, we're here.
Yes.
But absolutely so well done by both of them. J.J. Abrams, who gets a lot of crap, some of it deserved, moving on from Star Trek and going to Star Wars and just knocking it out of the goddamn park. One of the coolest lightsaber battles at the very end of the movie. I loved it. I love that movie so much. Which brings me to my number 2. I went back and forth between what's my number 1 and this movie. I mean, I was really sit and look at this piece of paper for like 20 minutes. Like, God damn it, what do I put? But my number two was Spotlight. I saw this after working a overtime shift. I was exhausted, and I was just like, oh God, I want to go home, but fuck it, I'll watch this. And it's one of the most gripping, one of the most depressing, but one of the best acted films I've seen in so long. I want to give a big shout out to Rachel McAdams because she really doesn't get enough credit for how good of an actress she is, and she was incredible in this. And then we have Mark Ruffalo, who knocked it out of the park. Fucking Liev Schreiber, Stanley Tucci, Michael Keaton, like John Slattery, I believe, the last name from Mad Men. Every goddamn person in this movie gave such a just incredible performance. This movie is brilliant. It's so goddamn brilliant, and I hope it does well tonight. So that is my number two, and that brings us to Colin's 5 through 2. Colin, sir, what you got?
Ooh, thank you. Number 5, The Force Awakens.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Star Wars was so sweet.
It was.
I saw it twice in theaters. I finally went and I didn't see it in IMAX 3D the first time, which was a mistake, and then I went and saw it in IMAX 3D later. Damn. That movie's legit. I love the story. I love BB-8. BB-8's adorable. Yeah. I'm so happy about the future of Star Wars because there's going to be at least 2 more movies. J.J. Abrams is always like, whenever he does anything, I'm just like, yep, I love it. There's few things he's directed that I haven't loved. When he was doing Mission Impossible, when he was doing Star Trek, I was a huge Lost fan. So yeah.
Has he been confirmed for the next one?
He's not doing the next one. I can't tell you that.
He's not doing the next one.
That is confirmed. He's not doing the next one.
So that's a bummer, but at least we have this one. The direction of, I'm sure he's going to be like a producer and he'll oversee what's going on because I imagine Disney would be scared to have him out of the loop. But yeah, Star Wars, super sweet. Everybody knows that. Everybody in the world saw it, so don't have to say much about that. Number 4, I don't know if many people even saw this. It didn't get a huge release, but it was on. The way I saw it was one of those movies where you could rent for $1 million while it's still in theaters, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was actually it turned out to be one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm probably gonna buy it once I have the ability to. I might actually be able to buy it now, but it's a Mississippi Grind, which is a movie with Ryan Reynolds. And so this new actor that I'm just absolutely adoring is Ben Mendelsohn. He was in the Netflix original series Bloodline, whichever it is. And I binged watched that show because that was an incredibly good show. And he is amazing in it. He's scary. You don't know what to think about this dude. And I don't know where he came from because the dude is 40s, 50s or something like that. But he did this movie, Mississippi Grind.
He was in The Dark Knight, apparently.
Was he really? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So I see that. Yeah. So he's been in big movies. But I'm assuming he just hasn't had huge roles, or at least hasn't been big starring roles. But anyway. Yeah, this movie, Mississippi Grind, it's got everything I love. Gambling, a couple dudes down on their luck, a lot of drinking, really sweet dude movie. I know there's a trend here.
Killing it with the dude demographic right
now. But I love Ryan Reynolds. Pretty much, we talked about it if you've heard our Deadpool review, and we talked about Ryan Reynolds, basically. Even the movies that he hasn't, there's been a lot of flops and movies that aren't super great, but I always usually, I like him in them, or just the movies that he's great in, just I feel like they outweigh his bad movies. So I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan still. Mississippi Grind, super good. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Number 3, Benicio. Oh my God. Such a badass. Sicario.
I love that it's so high on your list. I love it.
Oh my God. Scott was Scott was trying to get us to watch this damn movie forever.
Yes, it was.
Like,
Ever since I saw it, I'm like, hey, we should review this, guys.
And like I knew it was like highly rated, just like critically, but I'm just like, oh, I don't know if it's like, gonna be badass. Turns out it's super badass. So right up my alley. Scott talked about a lot of the good parts, and we have a full review of it, which is actually a really good review. You guys should go check it out. Hashtag Joe Pineapple 775. Should subscribe to friends. But yeah, Mississippi Grind. Sicario. There we go. Sicario's super sweet. I loved just everything about it. The way you kind of follow Emily Blunt's character. She kind of acts as like the unknowing, like unsuspecting person going into this very like mysterious situation where Josh Brolin's character isn't giving her a lot. She just has to go in because she wants revenge for some stuff that went down near the beginning of the movie. And that was just a great movie. I think it's getting a little bit of Oscar love here and there. No big categories, but that was a great one. A movie that is getting a lot of Oscar buzz, and I think well-deserved, is my number 2 movie was The Big Short. That was my favorite movie of all the Oscar-nominated movies. I think Mad Max was the other one that I have on my list. I don't know if I have any other movies on here from the Oscars, but The Big Short. I thought that movie was awesome. I love the topic of the huge, like the Great Recession, how it all went down, how people were predicting this and they made money off of it is just so fascinating to me. And it follows these different characters that are all based on real life people that did this. Christian Bale is this crazy character that listens to metal music the whole time, and he's this obvious genius who completely foresaw this housing market crash and basically bet on it happening. Basically, he shorted it, hence the name The Big Short. And the same with Steve Carell's character and a couple other people in the movie that they spotlight. So that movie, it's my favorite movie of the year for the Oscar nominations. I hope it wins. It's not going to, but I'm gonna probably be rooting for that movie. So anyway, that was my number 2.
All right, so now we move on back to Scott. Scott, my friend, what is your number 1 favorite film of this past year?
The number 1 for Scott's number 1 list of the number 1 movie of the year. Spotlight. I went with Spotlight.
Oh, great choice.
This was like, it was really hard not to, just based on the Hunter. You nailed it when you said that the acting all came together in this movie. Just incredible acting. Mark Ruffalo, who should win, maybe might not actually win this Oscar, but he should win for supporting. Michael Keaton killed it. He always kills it. Liev Schreiber, total badass.
Oh, sorry, Scott.
Overall,
I got to interrupt you. You said Michael Keaton always kills it. Okay, that's a little.
Well, okay. His past few performances I've really enjoyed. Liev Schreiber, overall badass, really, really great in this movie. Not necessarily a badass in this movie, but I mean, he is, so deal with it. John Slattery, incredible actor as well. It's just like when you have, sometimes they'll try to just cram all of these high-priced or really well-known, highly acclaimed actors in a movie and just try to make it work. And it doesn't always work. It doesn't necessarily mean a recipe for success. And more often than not, I don't really like those ones. They don't draw me to the big blockbuster movies that is like, oh, look at all these actors that you really enjoy in this one movie over here, and I'm usually not drawn to those, but the subject line and the thoroughness of it seemed like I'm not 100% privy to the complete details of all of this actual story that the Boston Globe came out with, but just it seemed like they really took their time with it and made sure that it was what they say that it was. And they really kind of followed the actual timeline and the actual events. So really kind of cool also to see the inner workings of the newspaper and of the inner workings of a medium that is not going to be around very long. So really cool, super interesting, extremely well acted. If you want to just go see an all-around great movie, great performed movie, I would say Spotlight is the one.
Dude, that's a great call for your number one. I am so happy you love that movie as much as you did, because, I mean, obviously it was my number two, but I fucking adore that movie. So, all right, well, it is time to jump into my number one here. We're going to save Mr. O'Neill for last. So, when I think of movies that I love, it's not always just about the movie, it's about the experience you have in watching the movie. And I didn't have a better experience this year than when I watched Creed. Creed is the best movie this year. Michael B. Jordan, fucking badass. And Colin talked about it earlier, how the first fight they have, it's like done in real time, and it's all one shot, and it's so goddamn brutal and gritty, and just, it's so good. And then you add Stallone in there, and Stallone gives the best performance he's given since the last Rocky movie. Like, he literally, I don't know what it is about these Rocky movies. It seems like he actually gives a shit about Rocky, so he tries, but I don't know, man. He was incredible in this. Definitely overshadowing Michael B. Jordan, which he shouldn't be. And fucking Ryan Coogler, who's now 2 for 2 with directing this and Fruitville Station. And he's doing Marvel's Black Panther. Oh my god! But sorry, Marvel. Anyways, but
Nice.
Sorry, just had to get that out. But I'm so proud of this movie. It's so well done. It is. It's so good that even the cheesiest thing I've maybe seen in a movie in the last year, where all those motorcyclists are like on their bikes and they're like riding alongside them. even that part pumped me up, because I was so in at that point. I'm like, fuck yeah, they're riding beside him. It's like really give me a goddamn break. But I loved it. Still loved it. So that's my number one. Which brings us, last but not least, to Colin. Colin, sir, what is your number one?
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I loved your guys' lists. You guys are exceptional list makers.
Thank you.
I just have to say. I have to admit, there's going to be a glaring omission from my list, and it is Spotlight. And I was going to have it on there, and when I was finally writing it down, I literally just didn't find a spot for it, but it should be on there somewhere. So let's just, yeah. There wasn't the light of day for a spot for it. So anyway, I love that movie. And I also love Revenant. We kind of went over, I guess that's technically a 2016 release, even though it's getting Oscar nominations this year. So that's a weird one too. But those two movies, love those movies. But for me, my list, number one is gonna be Ex Machina.
Oh,
that movie.
Nice.
I mean, I remember watching it, and I was watching it, and I was like, I was glued to that screen. This is like, so I'm a huge fan of science fiction in general. Usually, like, the best science fiction movie of the year is going to be like one of my favorites, and this movie is probably one of the best science fiction movies in a while.
Yeah.
It's also funny too because I'm on the IMDb page, kind of just like looking back over it and like reviewing it, and they have this section for people who like this also liked, and it says people who like this also liked Mad Max, Sicario, Jurassic World, and Interstellar. And I'm like, yo, man, IMDb, you know me so well.
That's totally me.
Yeah, so man, Oscar Isaac is so creepy and does such a good job at being this like billionaire, brilliant coder, robotics engineer. And then I guess it's Domhnall Gleeson is how you say his name. He's been doing a lot of good movies lately too, and he does such a good job at being this unsuspecting contest winner. And it's one of those movies again too where you can totally see yourself in the shoes of this unsuspecting dude. The character's name is Caleb. I mean, he's 26 years old. He's a coder. He works for an internet company, wins a competition, and I mean, he gets taken to this creepy house by like helicopter. You immediately feel trapped there, right when he drops him off and they just leave. You're just like, okay, I already feel super uneasy. And then just so you have to walk on eggshells after that because you're trapped. You can't go run away. It's this giant land. There's nothing nearby. The whole concept, the writing, the story is amazing, and the way it gets portrayed on film, with this, I guess, Alicia Vikander, who plays Ava. I mean, she does an amazing job. The special effects are incredible. Man, I was in love with this movie. It's gonna be like one of those movies that I remember, like 2015. Like, what do I really remember? Like, oh, that's when Ex Machina came out. So that's why it's my number one.
No, that
I'm so happy you put that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, that
Great
yeah,
movie.
that movie honestly is one of the best sci-fi movies. That might be my favorite sci-fi movie since District 9. Or like it I love.
Yeah, it's a good call. District 9 was
Yeah,
great.
and yeah, don't see the stuff really after that, but that's
What do you mean? This one. So that's the one part on IMDb. It says people who like this also liked, and it had Kingsman, which I did like Kingsman as well. And then the sixth out of the six, the other one was Chappie, and I was like, let's settle down with Chappie.
yeah, I saw Chappie, and yeah, let's not get into Chappie. But guys, that's our list of our favorite movies of 2015. What made your guys' list? Let us know in the comments below. You can follow me on the Twitter at jhunterrealpineapple. You can follow Colin on Twitter at.
The Real O'Neill.
You can follow Mr. Scott Neerman on Twitter at.
Newman the
And like
First.
us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple, and follow us here on SoundCloud at The Real Pineapple 775. This coming weekend, we're gonna with the show coming back in a few weeks, we will have our review of Daredevil season 1. Fuck yes, and maybe and London Has Fallen, because that comes out on Friday. So we will have reviews for both of those movies coming up this weekend, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one.